Hello and welcome back to another DLC episode, a solo with me, Joey, from the Game Club podcast. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about Ayasa, Shadows of Silence demo, which is available now on Steam for free. The full game is due out this year, but before we get started, I just want to do the usual. Thank Aya Games and Game.press for providing us with a review copy of this. And we really look forward to the full release of the game. So Ayasa Shadows of Silence is a semi-side scroller. It's a sort of 2.5D side scroller, very akin to that of Inside or Little Nightmares. It is a journey from left side of the level to the right side. It's described as a journey across 6 realms where you solve thought-provoking puzzles and engage with a narrative rich in horror and philosophy. The game itself opens with a scene of a butterfly and this mysterious pink mist filling the screen, and the butterfly's trying to get away from it. And then we see a city in the background that appears to have been nuked. It gave me a bit of a Terminator 2 feeling watching that, as if I was Sarah Connor. And after that, you see these kind of strange, almost mushroom-like people marching towards the city, and one of them turns around and faces the camera. And then we meet our main character, who I'm assuming is Ayasa. She doesn't speak. She's the only character there, but we wake up and you're in a forest. There's all this wildlife, but a lot of it is dead. So something clearly terrible has happened. And the game itself looks great. It's one of the things that really drew me to want to review this was some of the set pieces that are within this demo look absolutely fantastic. There's a part late on in the demo where you are trying to escape someone and you jump aboard a boat, and then all you have to do is hold your thumbstick to the right, but in the background there's loads of statues and Easter Island heads, but you can see people in desperation jumping off of them into the sea and things like that. There's a lot of really big set pieces here where I'm hoping when the game releases, the answers to why they're there will become much more apparent. So the game opens and you are who I assume is Ayasa. And as you're exploring, all of a sudden the pink mist appears on the left side of the screen. But this time it's not just a pink mist. There are really long arms coming out of it, and they're clearly coming to get you because of the audio change. The music becomes far more menacing. And you're running away from these arms, and it feels like they're getting closer and closer and closer until you climb across this very thin piece of wood across a really big cavern. And once you get to the other side, the wood breaks, and whatever is chasing you falls down into that cavern. Throughout the game, I've got a real Little Nightmares feel. There's clearly a lot of inspiration from that, from the kind of big, bombastic design of the enemies, to the actual feel and mechanics of the game being that kind of 2D side scroller with forward and backwards depth. I found it quite difficult at times. For example, when you were running away from the arms and you had to run across that very thin piece of wood, I must have played that 10 times because I was just either going too far backwards or too far forwards and falling out of it. I felt like the depth within the camera angle was quite unforgiving. However, when I got into it and had played the game for sort of 40 minutes, it felt really second nature and became much easier. The game has you running through this forest, and as you go, you find wildlife that starts to attack you. There are puzzles where you have to drag heavy items to the ledge that you're at so that you can make the jump. And once you leave the forest, you then enter what I can assume is the ruins of a city. like I said, this demo is about 40 minutes long. I believe it's the entirety of the first of the 6 realms. But when you're in the city, there's much more of a stealth element. The mushroom-looking people who come at you and chase you clearly don't want you there, but they're much quicker than you, which in the forest the enemies aren't, and they also kill you in one touch of you. So you have to hide behind boxes, use passing lights so you can stay in shadows, and use whatever's between you and them in the foreground or the background to stealthily make your way past those enemies and onto the next area. I found that some of the puzzles, because of the speed of the game, so I felt like when Ayasa was running, it was a very, very fast-paced game. And then when you had to move items to create larger jumps or to block a doorway, for example, moving the items took a lot of time. That's not a bad thing, but I do feel like it was hard to judge the pace of this game because of it. Now, what I would say is, Ayasa Shadow of Silence is the demo is free on Steam, so there is no reason why I don't think you should check it out. Some of the monster designs in this are really eye-catching. I didn't mean to use eye-catching intentionally, but my favourite one is a sort of Eye of Sauron, which is very briefly in the first level. And this huge eyeball is in the background, but it casts a red shadow. And what makes it really interesting is the eyelids all the way around the eyes are made up of hands holding it open. It's quite nightmarish, but it's really memorable. And I think if this is what they have in store for us in level 1, I look forward massively to seeing what is in store for levels 2 through 6. It's a really short episode because it's a short demo. I think the first 40 minutes of the game was really enjoyable. A little bit frustrating at times, but once you got that muscle memory and navigating between the foreground and the background became more seamless, it became a much more enjoyable experience. And I'm really looking forward to when Ayasa Shadows of Silence comes out in its full release, playing it through and seeing if they can keep this really high level of tension, eldritch horror, really at the forefront of the game, and also really understanding what it is that you're running from or running to, because the first chapter is quite vague. Anyway, this is me. Thank you for stopping by for this very quick DLC of Ayasa Shadows of Silence. Once again, thank you for Aya Games and Game.Press for sorting us out with the review copy. Really appreciate that. And we'll catch you next time. Nice one.